All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Take notice this public meeting of the Sayreville Board of Education was faxed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, in accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Further, in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6-21, a copy of this notice is posted outside the Secretary's office and also filed with the Clerk of the Borough of Sayreville. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. Mr. DeAndrea, roll call, please.
Mr. Balco.
Here.
Mrs. Bacco.
Here.
Mrs. Bloom.
Here.
Mr. Brzezinski.
Here.
Mrs. DePinto.
Here.
Mr. McEnon.
Present.
Mrs. Trapp.
Here.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
And Mr. Syak.
Here. I'd like to welcome the students and parents and faculty from the Samsel Upper Elementary School. They are here for a program which is going to be actually run on March 4th, which is the Let the Children Lead, where actually each one of these students will take our places up here, and they'll be having a school board meeting and voting on actual issues that come before this board in our place. It's an evening that we as a board always look forward to. It's a great evening where we get to actually be with the students and interact with the students. And I have to say I was there today with Dr. Alfano and Mr. DeAndrea and our assistant superintendents, and I got to see the students firsthand in action. And they asked a lot of great questions, and we were all impressed because they even know the three branches of government. They know what branch the Board of Education plays, what branch the superintendent plays, and we're looking forward to having you. So I want to welcome you to what in many cases will be your first Board of Education meeting. And with that, Mr. DeAndrea, could you summarize what we discussed in executive session this evening?
This evening in executive, under personnel, the vacancy of the high school vice principal position, reorganization of the technology department, under negotiations, school calendar, under negotiation, the Sayreville Education Memorandum of Agreement, and also the principal's contract. And I apologize, the one we added was sick leave for a Sayreville Education Association member. Under attorney-client privilege, Sayreville Education Association contract tuition contract reimbursement, and also curriculum. The one item that was not discussed that you will be going back into after public will be the item that was not discussed was the superintendent's contract.
Okay, thank you. Can everyone hear us in the back? Because I don't know if this is on or not. Yes? Good. Excellent. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got somebody back there shaking their head yes, and I got to know apparently. All right, so Mr. DeAndrea, I don't know if you could turn us up at all, but I'm not sure if we're able to be heard. At this point, I think we have to welcome our Truman School cheerleaders, which I think is part of our language arts literacy program. They performed at Barnes & Noble. So Mrs. Coffey, a Truman School principal, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Many thanks to Dr. Alfano and the Board of Education for giving us this opportunity to showcase one of our special school activities. We're very fortunate to have a very active, hardworking PTO, and this happens to be a program that is sponsored by our PTO. The children have lots of choices for after-school programs, some of which include arts and crafts, fun and fitness, computer education, dance, sports, story fun, and of course, I can't forget our cheerleading. So back by popular demand, because many of you saw them perform at Barnes & Noble, our district-wide book fair day in January. So they did a stellar performance, and based on that, I am so very proud to present to you our K-3 cheerleaders from Harry S. Truman School. Let's hear it for them. Hip, hip, hooray! Take it away. I forgot to give credit where credit is due, under the direction of our outstanding Mrs. Jean Scudney and her assistant from the Sayreville War Memorial High School, Jenna McDuffus. So thank you, Jenna, and thank you.
We're going to do some motions. Are you ready? High V, low V, T, broken T, touchdown, low touchdown, clap, 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 clap.
I'd like to thank all the young ladies, and before they leave, I think the board's cheerleading chairperson, Mrs. DePinto, would like to say something.
Ladies, you did a wonderful job. And Mr. Brown, can you please tell Miss M we have a bunch of ladies that will be trying out in a couple of years, so keep those spots open for them? Ladies, we'll be waiting for you in a couple of years. The Bomber cheerleaders have spots ready for you. So keep up the hard work.
And this event is tied into our literacy program, which is responsible for basically driving our language arts test scores. Each individual elementary school has chosen a different way to inspire students to read, to inspire students to discover the love of great literature. So we're doing some very dynamic and different things in each one of our schools. This is Truman's take on how they inspire their students. Thank you very much. For those of you who wish to stay, you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. If you have other places to be or homework to do, now would be a good time to go do your homework.
Should have been done by now.
And at this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Facendo for our HIB report.
Thank you, Mr. Sayak. That's a hard act to follow.
Yes, it is.
For those members who are staying in our audience this evening, the actual numbers for our HIB report can be found in the agenda on pages 2, 3, and 4. Our total number of HIB reported incidents for the period of July 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013 are 5 incidents. That's exciting for us because that is down half, and in some cases more than half, from the prior year. In order to count as an HIB incident, a person must be harassed, intimidated, or bullied based on a characteristic having to do with race, color, religion, ancestry, origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, mental, physical, or sensory disability, or other distinguishing characteristics such as physical appearance. To qualify as an HIB incident, the offender must have known that the victim would have been physically or emotionally harmed, or that their property would have been damaged. There has to be a case where the victim feels fear of physical or emotional harm. The actions would have had to insult or demean a student or a group of students, interfered with the victim's education, or created a hostile educational environment by severely or pervasively causing physical or emotional harm to the student. In every single one of these cases, you will note in the report that disciplinary action was taken, but we also required that both the offenders and the victims undergo remedial actions such as counseling, because our job is to ensure that these types of incidents don't occur again. And I think that just when you look at the comparison report, which was sent to the board over this weekend, our numbers are way down, and I do believe that this counseling component has something to do with that. So thank you, Mr. Sayak.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Facendo? Okay, very good. We'll move on to correspondence. We have the monthly technology work order reports and the monthly maintenance work order reports. And in addition to that, the board received a copy of a letter from Ms. Letitia Williams-Wright. I'm just going to ask for a motion that all of these items be received and filed, and that we direct Mr. DeAndrea to respond back to Ms. Wright, indicating that the board is continuing to support its existing curriculum. Can I have a motion?
You don't need a motion, you just need just a yay or nay.
Anyone opposed to that? Okay, you've got your direction. Thank you. Approval of minutes. I do need a motion for this. Can I have a motion to approve the regular and executive minutes of February 4th?
So moved.
By Mrs. Bloom, do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Walsh. Any comments or questions on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. Roll call to approve the minutes.
Mr. Balka?
Yes.
Mrs. Backo? Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mrs. DePinto?
Yes.
Mr. McEnone?
Yes.
Mrs. Trapp?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
And Mr. Sayak.
Yes. Okay, we do not have our student or parent rep here, although I believe we did have a PIC council meeting since our last board meeting. So, Mrs. Zeichner, would you like to update the board and the public on what happened there?
Sure. We had a PIC meeting on Monday, February 10th, and we had about 15 parents in attendance and several board members and administrators, and the topic for that evening was making the most of parent-teacher conferences. It was a timely topic with conferences coming up next week, and so we had a good discussion with the parents and provided them with some resources.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And our next meeting is Monday, March 10th, and the topic will be the Envision Math Series, which is the new math series we're using this year in grades K through 5. So that will be Monday, March 10th.
Okay. Any questions regarding the PIC report from the board members? All right, hearing none, we have no attorney present, so we'll move on to district highlights. Mrs. DePinto.
Congratulations and an amazing job well done to Ashani Patel, an 8th grade student at the Sayreville Middle School who took the PSATs and received outstanding scores, especially for an 8th grade student. Ashani scored 81% higher than high school sophomores in critical reading, 97% higher than high school sophomores in mathematics, and 97% higher than high school sophomores in writing skills. This is an amazing accomplishment by a remarkable young lady, and we are proud that she is part of the Sayreville District family. Congratulations, Ashani. We are pleased to inform you that 43 Sayreville DECA students attended the New Jersey DECA Regional Competition on January 9th and won a total of 31 awards. The following students won awards in their chosen business and technical event areas and are now eligible to compete at the New Jersey state competitions in March. These students have worked very hard beyond the regular school day to prepare for these competitive events. Sayreville War Memorial High School again showed an excellent winning percentage. Charisse Belloir, Business Finance Test, first place overall, Test first place, Role Play 1 and 2, first place. James Fasulo, Business Law Team, first place overall, Role Play first place, Test second place. Chloe Boyce, Business Law Team, first place overall, Role Play first place. Caitlin Kosick, Principles of Hospitality Tourism, first place overall, Role Play first place, Test second place. Constantine Memdov, Restaurant and Food Service Management, Role Play first place. Nicholas Juniman, Financial Service Team, second place overall, Role Play third place. Parth Patel, Financial Service Team, second place overall, Role Play third place. Megan Quinlan, Quick Serve Restaurant Management, second place, Quick Play 2. Adriana Bella, Accounting Applications, Role Play 1, third place. Allison Attardi, Principles of Hospitality and Tourism, third place test. Congratulations to the DECA team. Mr. Edward Aguiles, principal at Eisenhower Elementary School, would like to recognize and thank Mr. Richard Tola, health and physical education teacher at the Eisenhower Elementary School, for his outstanding work in running the Jump Rope for Heart this year. This year, he did not want to ask the PTO for help, so he handed out all of the prizes and paperwork himself, which is huge considering the amount of work that is involved in putting on a program like this. Sometimes when someone continually does great things and makes them look so easy, he or she is not recognized. We just wanted to express how impressed Principal Aguiles and the Sayreville School District is with his effort. He is currently working towards his administrative certification, and tenacity and diligence like he displayed toward this task are just two of the factors which we believe will make him an administrator we can be proud of one day. Mr. Tola certainly is a teacher we can be proud of right now. Sayreville War Memorial High School students Amy Walczyk, Elise Brewer, and Helen Kwok received Gold Key Awards and were also awarded with an exhibition of their jewelry work through the annual Scholastic Art and Writing Awards at the Montclair Art Museum, which began on February 13th and will run through March 9th. Also, Elizabeth Moriara, Nikia Wong Chung both received Silver Key recognition. This year, a total of 4,500 works were submitted. Amy, Elise, and Helen were in the top 5%. Congratulations to all on a job well done. And if you'd like to see the art pieces, we have them up here. We have pictures of the art pieces, if you'd like to come up later and see them. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. DePinto. Also under district highlights, I would just like to recognize Dr. Alfano for his work in securing the observation waiver for our teachers under the Teach NJ Act. I know our administrators are happy, I know our teachers are happy. Basically what that means is rather than an administrator walking in now for 3 short of observations of our tenured staff, they'll be able to do 2 long, which is 1 less interruption in the classroom, one less write-up, and it prevents any type of discrepancy between what occurred in the second half of the class when the observer was not in the room. So that's a huge win for us, and we're very happy. And I appreciate you coordinating that, not only for us, but for the district, for the county as a whole. Dr. Alfano, with that in mind, I'll turn it over to your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Syak. Emily, you taking these notes down? She's going to be Dr. Alfano next meeting. I'm sure you'll do a much better job than me. All right, but let's start off with buildings and grounds. Ms. Facenda went over the HIB summary report. There's one other resolution underneath that section, which is the use of the high school parking lot for the baseball team to have a car wash. Any questions with that first section? With none, moving to B, finance. First 12 resolutions are our regular resolutions. 13 is an addition of 4 new paraprofessionals, hourly paraprofessionals for the special education program. 14 is a change order credit, as noted. 15 is a architectural DIG group, architects to security improvement, district-wide, in the amount of, we're contracting that company to do our security upgrades. The architects, DeCara and Rubino, are getting ready to start contracting out the Truman School roof replacement in that amount as noted. 17 is a disposal of equipment. The upper elementary school is eliminating, abolishing a school psychologist for 3/5, and if you look at the next one, they are adding a full-time person, and that's for the overload of the additional special education children. Any questions with that section?
I have a question. For 15 and 16, since we're hiring the architect, is the Buildings and Grounds recommendation to move forward with these 2 projects? Is that why we're doing this?
Yes, I sent that out to everyone.
We were going to report on that later during the
Committee
the
reports.
committee reports, yes.
Reports,
Yep.
okay.
These are the projects we looked at last year, and we got the ROD grant money on this year, so,
So this is from the capital reserve,
correct, yes.
or?
Well, at this point in time, no. Once the contract is bid and you accept your bids, then you'll transfer the money from capital reserve.
And Mr. DeAndrea, I need to abstain on a check for Premier Printing.
Number 8, I'm going to abstain on. And check number 129130, I'm going to vote no on.
And what is 129130?
That's the
129120.
Bowen and Associates.
130, it says right here.
129130.
The what associates?
The Bowen and Associates for the redistricting report. I was under the impression they were going to give us more financial stuff, because I could have sworn and this wasn't happening with the report.
Okay.
I could have sworn, I tried finding it better. I tried reviewing it, but
I mean, they were basically directed to present the educational recommendations, because they're not architects, so that piece wouldn't have come. Correct. Any other comments or questions?
Okay, with none, moving to C, personnel non-certified. We have a few unpaid personal leaves and/or medical leaves, a retirement, as noted, and I want to acknowledge Maureen Romanello, who's been with the district for over 30 years as a paraprofessional at Wilson. So we wish her the best of luck. Professional days is noted for the various staff and substitutes, which is on page 7. Any questions with that section? With none, moving to D, personnel, certified. There's an unpaid medical leave, an unpaid personal leave. There's a lateral transfer, a psychologist moving from one school to another, again, to accommodate our special education population. And I would make a special note of this. I would ask that Ms. Megan Romero please stand up. She's our new vice principal. That's taken over from Mr. Curry. Good luck, Ms. Romero, and thank you very much for applying. I'm sure you'll be an excellent addition. With number 5, it's a professional days, as noted, for the staff. I have one additional resolution at the end that I'll put in. Number 6 is our new teachers that we're employing. Number 7 are the substitute list. And there's an 8th resolution which reads, the Board of Education is requested to approve salary minus replacement teacher salary for each sick day taken for employee Jean Marie Jussiarian, grade 2 teacher at the Olive Elementary School for a period from November 13, 2013 through June 30th, 2014, or when she returns. And that concludes that section. Any questions on section D? With none, moving to policy, no report. With F, there is no HIB reports for this month. There are 2 curricula that are being approved. AP Calculus BC, a modern global conflict, is noted on page 10. Special services items is noted on page 10 as well. Any questions with that section? With none, moving to G, co-curriculum. There is a resolution for Truman School, that Battle of the Books. Wilson School, a luxury bag bingo. Olive Elementary, Battle of the Books as well. Olive Family Night, Fun Night. Samso Upper Elementary School does their Somerset Patriots Most Improved Student Night. That's sponsored by TD Bank. And we also have some unpaid coaches. AP Night, which is Wednesday, as well as Freshman Orientation, which is Wednesday, March 19th, which happens at the high school. Any questions with that section G? With none, moving to H, support services. Our usual shuttle bus from one school to another during conferences because we don't have enough of parking, and there are 3 trips, as noted on page 13. That concludes my report. Mr. Syak.
Thank you, Dr. Alfano. Do any of the board members have questions regarding the report? Does the new Dr. Alfano understand what you need to do? Good.
She'll be
Good.
better than me. Don't worry.
At this time, I'll open it up to public. If anyone has any concerns regarding agenda items only, there'll be a separate public portion for other items concerning the district. If you wish to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Hearing none, we'll close public. Can I have a motion to approve the superintendent's report? By Mrs. DePinto. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Bloom. Any comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Bauka,
Yes, except items noted.
Mrs. Bacco,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski,
Yes.
Mrs. DePinto,
Yes.
Mr. McEnone,
Yes.
Mrs. Trapp,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes, and in particular, with great pleasure, yes on Mrs. Romero.
Mr. Syak.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. Delegate to New Jersey School Boards Association, the main thing that I have to report is, as you've probably noticed in the news, Commissioner Cerf has resigned to take a job with a private company. So they are currently, we're basically commissionerless, and we're waiting for a new appointee. I've heard lots of rumors in terms of people who will be considered for the position, but I haven't heard anything in terms of who will actually be the next commissioner, so we're waiting on that. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report at this time. Committee reports. Student Achievement 2030. Mrs. Bloom, your committee had a meeting.
Yes, we did. We met and we reviewed the New Jersey school report. We looked at areas where schools need to make improvement. With the guidance of Maryland, we've decided that we're going to watch for their corrective action plans. We plan to meet again in April and see what is being done to correct the areas where the schools had some deficiencies. In the elementaries, primarily, they're judged on attendance. So, it's really not academic, but the principals are looking to push better attendance.
Attendance for students.
For students, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Any questions for Mrs. Bloom regarding the Student Achievement Committee? All of you received copies of the report cards. I sent them home with my highlights, so you've got the same information that they do. Okay, hearing none. Mr. Balka, Finance and Infrastructure. I know you had a long meeting yesterday.
Yeah, well, I first had infrastructure a week or two before that. We basically reviewed the capital reserve balance. We recommended going through with the Truman School roof, the district security upgrades, and Arliss School mechanical upgrades for the short wall. I guess it's the ventilators and some stuff over there. We got ROD grant money for all those 3, so hopefully we're going to get the bid package out and get the Truman roof bid hopefully as soon as possible so we can get this job done over the summer. And we did a quick walkthrough of Slover, take a look around, see what it looks like, and we discussed the Truman classroom walls. But right now, it's It's in our sights, but we didn't schedule anything yet. We're not moving forward with it yet until video gives us more numbers and is more, more familiar with everything it's going to cost to get that up and running the way we want it to work, and with all the electrical and proper hallways and all the other things that need to be looked into. And then yesterday.
That was
Yesterday, okay.
It was my birthday.
We spent all day meeting with all the different advisors, all the different department heads, directors, principals, going over the budget. Basically, we're over capped about 150 right now, but Dr. Alfano has 100 grand in his pocket right now that he knows he can cut.
It's a figure of speech.
Maybe not.
We're gonna meet again, but we're gonna wait for the state aid numbers to come out, hopefully end of February.
Okay. All right, any questions for Mr. Balka on the finance?
If I can just
Or
add,
infrastructure.
one of
Yes.
the things, as we always deal with, is that state aid numbers don't come out until late February. So being that we're in an $80 million budget, $150,000, once state aid numbers are out, will definitely give us a better indication what we need to do. So we're not really concerned at this point in time to get to the cap number that we need to get to.
Do we think that that date's going to be moved at all? Because I know they pushed out the date that we need to submit a budget. Is the state aid still supposed to come out when it's going to come out? Well, that's true, because we still have some districts that have an April election that aren't subject to the move.
And it's normally 2 days after the governor's address.
Okay.
Just a quick question. The budget that we have, is that the one that's 150, or you made changes
The one
to
that
get
you
to the
received
150?
was 95,000 over cap, and as usual, we added money to the budget, not cuts.
Okay.
So
Did
you've made the
cut
problem worse.
anything?
We did cut some too, but we still.
We cut some, but we
added
added a
more
little
than
bit
we
more.
cut, so.
Can you send us a summary of the changes?
As soon as I get a chance to sit down with them, yes.
Okay, any
I
other
also
questions?
made a recommendation, we all buy Powerball tickets for tomorrow.
There we go.
That would help.
Any other comments or discussion on finance and infrastructure? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to discussion. We have the Slover School reopening, and I know I sent home to the board some numbers in terms of costs that it would take for staffing that. We're looking at roughly $880,000 in recurring staff costs, and then plus somewhere between $500,000 and $750,000 in terms of building refurbishment. Now, with the cap situation that Mr. Balka referred to, we're in a tough spot to be able to actually reopen that building for this September. So I know what Dr. Alfano and his team were looking at was the option of doing, basically looking for the board's okay to try to do some internal shifting and come up with a plan to do some internal shifting of students for this September, and then plan a building reopening for Slover for the following September, which would also factor into the 12 to 18-month time frame that Dr. Bowen had recommended in terms of making that a success. What I'm looking for from the board is that okay, so that Dr. Alfano can go and start preparing the plans for how we're going to deal with the student population for next year and start phasing in that building? Or does the board want to discuss other options in terms of how to do that?
Well, I don't think we have many other options. I mean, sitting down, yesterday with the finance and going over stuff, I think that is our best option, is to wait until the following September, do some shifting for this September to do the best we can for Eisenhower, Truman, and then be prepared for September of 2015.
And in terms of shifting, we're not looking to relocate any students who are currently enrolled in the district. What we're looking to do is try to manage the new incoming kindergarten population and possibly adjust them in terms of what school they would attend so that we do not overload one particular school. So we're not looking at moving any existing children. Any other thoughts or comments regarding that? All right, so then if we're all okay with that, Dr. Alfano, you'll report back to the board in terms of the ongoing progress, both in terms of getting Slover online and budgeting for that, both as a combination of this year and next year, and then also report back to us in terms of how we're going to handle the incoming enrollment piece. Okay? The only other item I have under discussion is, as I mentioned to the board, we're going to need an additional meeting date purely for executive session with regards to negotiations for a successor agreement with the superintendent of schools. I'd like to propose next Tuesday, January 25th. We can pick it. I'm sorry, February 25th. Thank you.
Oh, please, don't go there.
February 25th, at whatever time the board That's at the board's pleasure. I mean, we can meet at 5:30. Like I said, there will be no public portion, there will be no public action, so it's up to the board when they want to meet. Does 5:30 work for everyone? Is that too early? Okay. Then, Mr. D, actually, do you need a motion on that? Can I have a motion to schedule a meeting of the Saraville Board of Education, executive only, regarding the superintendent's contract for February 25th at 5:30 p.m.? Do we want to do it here? Here. Have a
Motion?
I have a motion by Mrs. DePinto. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Strapp. Comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carried. Oh, that's right. Any other discussion by board members? The last thing that the board wanted to share is one of the things that we discussed in executive session was the school calendar as it relates to negotiations with our personnel. We wanted to give parents and students some sense of what we're doing with spring break, because we know that that's on everyone's mind. Given the fact that we don't know how many more snow days we will have at this time, hopefully no more, but we really don't know, so we cannot commit firmly to an answer with regard to spring break. But what we can tell you at this time is that this board is committed that even if we get an additional 2 snow days, we will still not touch spring break and leave spring break intact. Now, if it goes beyond 2 additional snow days, if we get 3 or 4 or 40, we can no longer make that commitment.
You get 40, we're going to July.
So again, if, as of right now, we are not touching spring break. If school is closed for any reason between now and spring break, either once or twice, this board is still committed to not touching spring break and leaving that as off time. Beyond 2 days, we will most likely have to revisit spring break at that point. Okay? Any other comments for discussion? All right, at this time, I'll open it up to public for any item concerning the district. If you wish to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Lisa
Hi.
Reback, 7 Charles Street. I just wanted some clarification about the shifting for next school year. It just took me by surprise, so I'm not sure. So you're going to be looking into doing what about Eisenhower for next year?
Basically, what we would do is, as enrollment numbers in kindergarten registration starts to come in kindergarten registration, I believe, is typically in March, we would look at where those numbers are falling, and basically we would look to move any new incoming kindergartners to a different school if one school begins to get overcrowded.
Okay, so then the existing students will not be shifted to one school
The-
and then to another school possibly the following year?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for public? Okay, hearing, oh. Yes, no?
Hello, good evening. I'm Letitia Wright, Williams Wright. I didn't know if you wanted to discuss the letter now, or would you call me at a different time? I live at 14 East Kenneth Avenue, Parlin.
If you have anything to share with the board now, you can certainly do that.
Okay, I think I stated everything in the letter, so I didn't know if I, should come forth now, or...
If you have any additional information to present, you should present it now. Because, basically, right now, the board has conferred with the administration regarding your letter, and it's our intent to support our existing curriculum as it stands. So if you have any additional information which the board has not had an opportunity to hear, now would be a time for you to share that information.
Okay, no, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public? All right, hearing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Going into executive session.
Thank you. Very good.
Before we go into executive session, I would also like to acknowledge that the beautiful jewelry that won the awards is the result of Miss Moisage, who is the art teacher who teaches jewelry here at the high school. So these would be her students, so she should
Excellent.
be complimented as well.
And I'll make sure I include that in the head of the class.
Thank you.
Also, before we go into executive, if the board members and the administrators, if you have not yet met your replacement for next week or 2 weeks from now, if you want to take a minute, Mrs. Brady, I'm sure, can introduce us to each one of our successors for the March 4th meeting, and then we can retire into executive. So I'll take a motion to retire into executive session on a matter of negotiation superintendent's contract. By Mr. McEnone, second by Mrs. DePinto.
Bonnie, I'll just finish the roll call.
Yeah, if you could just give us 1 minute, let's do one roll call, and then you can come on up. Thank you.
Mr. Balka?
Yes.
Mrs. Bacco?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mrs. DePinto? Mr. McEnone?
Yes.
Mrs. Trapp?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
And Mr. Sy.
Yes, and for the benefit of the public, there will be no action taken following our executive session. We will just return to public to adjourn. You students are welcome to come up. Thank you all for coming.